Told you no touchy touchy, now you suffer the bite of the lion and the clenching jaws of an alligator.
No touchy, especially not a fan of Diamond FM. Don't touch that radio set.
Diamond 88.7 FM is here to make sense out of your world through our balanced news coverage from the nooks and crannies of Nigeria and beyond. Journey with us through the news we tracked for you at this moment on your shining supreme station.
For the best of national, local, international news and sport, tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
It's exactly 9 a.m. A very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on today's edition of the News Punch, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilori. This is where we bring you the trending stories across the globe. My name is Bisola Oduwole Suleiman, and here are the stories making the waves across the world. In Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has hailed the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola. He described the late businessman who died in suspicious circumstances after his election was annulled by the late General Sani Abacha as the symbol of democracy. Tinubu acknowledged the hardship being faced by Nigerians in the aftermath of the fuel subsidy removal, said his administration will reward their sacrifices with massive investment in transportation infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve their quality of life. Still in Nigeria, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, SAN, has said the Department of State Services, DSS, lacks constitutional power to investigate and prosecute the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Falana said Emefiele should be transferred to the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, which, according to him, has the legal right to prosecute Emefiele. And in Kwara State, the Kwara State Governor and Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, has congratulated Nigerians on the 30th anniversary of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, calling it a watershed event that bears the current democratic dispensation. In a statement to commemorate the Democracy Day, the governor said the best way to honor the eras of democracy and sustain the gains of the era is to recommit to the ideals of democracy and join every effort to build a stronger country through patriotism and collective responsibility. Abdurrazak also urged the Nigerians to rally behind President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to strengthen democracy and consolidate on the gains of the past years in the area of collective security, infrastructural development, and public welfare. And on the foreign scene, an 11-year-old British girl was shot dead and her father seriously wounded when their Dutch neighbor in northwestern France opened fire. The family was in the garden of their home when their neighbor appeared with a firearm, according to the initial investigation. The 11-year-old was found dead at the scene, while her father had sustained life-threatening injuries. The shooter was identified as a 71-year-old Dutch pensioner. And in the world of sports, Novak Djokovic created history on Sunday when he captured the record-breaking 23rd Grand Slam title with a third French Open triumph, reinforcing his case to be crowned the greatest player of all time. The 36-year-old Serb defeated Kasper Ruud of Norway and broke the tie of 22 slams he shared with career-long rival Rafael Nadal. Victory for the third time in Paris after 2016 and 2021 adds to his 10 Australian Open title, 7 at Wimbledon and 3 at the US Open. And that's all we have for you on this morning's edition of the News Sponge. Coming up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we bring you the analysis of some of the major stories making the rounds. Just stay with us. We will be right back.
Diamond FM, your one-stop dial.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, they want to kill us. Why not kill us for Nigeria? Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can you hold Indomine? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
It's a beautiful Monday morning, and it is in order to say happy democracy to every Nigerian out there. It is Democracy Day, June the 12th, 2023. You're tuned in and listening to Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin, and this is the Diamond Breakfast Show. This is the platform where we take a look at some of the major stories making the rounds, and we will be analyzing some of them this morning. My name is Bisola Oduwole Suleiman. I'm your host on the Diamond Breakfast Show this morning. And to do the analysis with me, I have Mr. Adeola Adeyonju, public affairs analyst and a social commentator. A very good morning to you, sir.
It's a pleasure, madam. Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria, and happy democracy.
Right, June 12th is historic in our democratic history. We cannot talk about democracy in Nigeria without talking about the June 12th. It was a day in 1993 when Nigeria, by credible account, had the freest and fairest election. The winner, Moshood Abiola, was by fact the choice of the people. The election was...
In my inauguration address on May 29, I gave effect to the decision taken by my predecessor in office to remove the fuel subsidy, the albatross, and free up the collective use of much needed resources, which had hitherto been pocketed by a few rich. I admit the decision will impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain. This is one decision we must bear to save our country from going under and take our resources away from the stranglehold of a few unpatriotic elements. Painfully, I have asked you, my compatriots, to sacrifice a little more for the survival of our country. For your trust and belief in us, I assure you that your sacrifice shall not be in vain. The government I lead will repay you through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve the quality of lives. The democracy MK Abiola died for is one that promotes the welfare of the people over personal interests of the ruling class, and one where the governed can find personal fulfillment and happiness. That is the hope MK Abiola ignited throughout our country in 1993. On this year's Democracy Day, I enjoy all of us, to rededicate ourselves to strengthening this form of government of free people that has been our guiding light these past 24 years. In particular, those of us who have been privileged to elect into public office at various levels in both the executive and legislative arms of government must recommit ourselves to offering selfless service to the people and delivering concrete democracy dividend in accordance with our electoral promises.
All right, that was the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, speaking there this morning. That was part of his speech that was addressed to Nigerians this morning. Now, he says, fellow compatriots, this is the time to make some sacrifices. Finally, some words to lift our spirits as Nigerians, or what do you think?
Yeah, actually, Baba have spoken. And before the day runs out, you see people will perceive what he has said in different way. While some people, in the course of activism, they will say what they want to say. Some people emotion, some people sentiment, and some people will see it straight the way he said it, and they will be able to bring rationale out of it. For me, I believe he's in the best position to have said what he said today in the speech because of his role in the issue of June 12th. Now, this June 12th, we have heard of it, and it has become a national issue. Even it has been transformed from the 29 May to June 12th now, which is Democracy Day. Automatically, the May 29 will remain handing over day alone. And why is it a national issue? Let me put up one small interjection. You know, when the June 12th was abolished in the period by the military junta, everybody believed this election is generally accepted by the whole country.
All right.
And as a result of that, the likes of Pa Alfred Riwani, who happened to witness the First Republic, a friend to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who stayed in Ikeja then, championed the cause because of his wealth. He's a businessman, he has a lot of money. He said, no, we need democracy in Nigeria. We need democracy in Africa. Nigeria is supposed to showcase that. He stood by his ground. He financed every activities across the federation that will enhance the stability of democracy. Immediately, June 12th was announced. And you can see somebody like late Enohoro. Alfred Riwani is late now. You can see the likes of late Enohoro, Abraham Adesanya stood by his side. And as a result of that, many state actors begin to come up. You can see Franco Kori, who happened to be a secretary in the oil and gas sector, instituting different type of strike because they believe the military junta believe in oil money. And going by strike, both in Abacha, Babangida and Abacha regime, he believed that if they didn't have the money, they would listen to what we are saying. So he did that, and even as to did their own. I think Professor Festus Ajayi was the ASU president then, chairman, sorry. He instituted a strike, nationwide strike, in order to embrace, because they believe in passion of Abiola in economy, in health, and in education. So they did their own. Even in the military cycle, there used to be one Colonel Umar in Kaduna, and General Ani Akinriyade. They did their own. In the legal angle, you can see the likes of late Gani Fawemi, even Agbakoba. Falana did his own, and an individual like Balarabe Musa, everybody stood cut across the federation. They stood by June 12th, and it became a national issue. And as a result of this, you will not forget some pressure group like Nadeco, Nalikon, and even the CD, Campaign for Democracy, instituted by the late Beko Kuti. And out of this pressure group, you can see Nadeco champion a great activities. Even an individual like Madam Suliat Adedeji that was killed in Ibadan then, as part of them. You can now see that Nadeco play a magnificent role. And if you are talking of the role of Nadeco in June 12th, you can't forget this our current president. That is Bola Tinubu. He championed the cause, though the likes of Tinubu and Professor Wole Soyinka, who formed Nalikon then, went on exile. But somebody like Brahma Desanya stood in Nigeria in the whole Babangida and Abacha regime. He died at the age of 85, and all held against him in the military era. This man survived it. Even the straight bullet, everything, he survived it. Now, Mr. Tinubu have one singular luck, and that is, he is the one who partake in the course of the June 12th, and is the only singular body that became a president out of them. He was a senator, he was a governor, and a president. So if he failed to institute the idea of late Bisola, then one should over-criticize him. But from what he has said in his speech today, you know, when he gave us a welcome package on the subsidy removal, every Nigerian still stood by him, because we believe if you are not strong enough, you cannot remove oil subsidy. And immediately he made the pronouncement before any succor. He just moved to every stakeholder. He began to, even if people in Diamond FM say they have something on their table, they want to see Mr. Tinubu today, he will allow you. Because the traditional institution, he gave them regard. You understand?
He began to have talks with
a lot of people.
Sector.
So as a result of this now, when he now came up with this subsidy removal, everybody was like, how do we cope? But when we begin to see part of what he said in his campaign begin to go on rampage, that Nigeria have increased its fuel price, even the layman begin to look at it, that are we the one feeding this country? But we are expecting something in replace in order to make Nigeria happy. And part of it is what he said in his broadcast this morning. He said something that the subsidy has been removed, but he is going to package a good education, health sector, stable electricity with a perfect tariff on it, infrastructure. Tell me, if all this has been done, is it no better than increase in salary that you won't know where you are spending the money? Is it everybody that is government workers? Is it every private establishment that will be able to pay this increase in salary conveniently without taking it back from the public?
Okay, so you're not of the opinion that salary increase is what we need at this point in time to cushion the effect, or to divert the funds that should have been used for subsidy into something else. Instead of increasing salaries, you believe that developmental projects should be done? 100%,
I believe, because increase in salary will give unnecessary publicity to the economic activities, and that is why, from what he said in his speech this morning, he said that he's going to see to the welfare package. When you talk of welfare package, he generalizes it. Welfare package of every Nigeria and a stable economy. If the economy is stable, you collect your 30,000 minimum wage and you can spend it on something reasonable within a month, compared to 200,000 you collect and everything will go on vehicle. And he has said a lot on how he's going to embrace the rural urban mass transit, courtesy of the some marketers, the oil and gas marketers. And they are even making a robust arrangement with Innocent Motor now on how we're going to use a vehicle that we use solar, a vehicle that we use gas. We have abandon of gas in Nigeria that has not been tapped. And as a result of this, it has even started the cushion effect. If you look at gas now, yes, it has been reduced, and those are what we are expecting in Nigeria in order to have a good cost of living, in order to embrace a good activities within the country, a country where everybody will hold 1 naira and you have a justification for what you spend it for.
All right. Now, from all this, from the president's speech and his reactions to everything, it seems like the president already has the plan already figured out, or the plan drafted out. But all these areas that he mentioned are really, really critical. But what do you think we need, aside from the fund reserved from the oil proceeds post the subsidy era? Because let's not forget, in Nigeria, and most especially in government, corruption is not just a word. It's not just something on the lips of everyone. It has become a culture for some certain people. So what other thing do we need, aside from looking at, okay, it's the reserves from the oil proceeds will be used to do certain things, but what exactly? How do we ensure that we do not go back to where we are coming from? And how do we ensure that Nigerians are taken out of poverty?
You see, what we need is transparency. What we need is a listening government. What we need is a government that will be able to stand by whatever it tells Nigeria. And he started demonstrating that when he called people from the lower chamber, from the green chamber from assembly. He called them, and I had a particular guy from opposition party, Labour Party to be specific, that he said he never knew that this man have a charisma, he has a blueprint, he's a Democrat. But you see, when you see somebody from afar, or personally, or possibly because of your own personal notion, you may not want to believe in that person. But I believe he's going to conserve most of this money to do something reasonable, in condition he is transparent to the latter. Right. In condition he is a government that carry people along. In condition he is a government that continue the way he started. You know, he has embraced a lot of people. He has allowed Nigeria to know the kind of administration he wants to run. He has let us know that the blueprint he has within himself is going to translate it to the latter. If he continue like that, honestly, whatever they conserve from that area will be spent according to the way Nigeria will see it. And he has even started it because, you know, he let us realize that every segment have their own role. And as a result of that, inconsistent public policy will not be embraced in its own administration. If a government policy is consistent, there is no way you will not be transparent. There is no way whatever money is meant for a particular project will not be spent on that project. And as a result of this, if this money being conserved in trillion, and according to what they say in their own administration at a particular quarter, that if 7 trillion is being spent on oil subsidy in a year, what will stop government after removing of oil subsidy from taking 1 trillion out of this 7 trillion to solve the issue of ASU that cost almost 800 to 900 billion? You understand? If they can follow that to the latter, automatically we have been seeing the essence of removing the subsidy. But if reverse is the case, honestly, just believe Nigeria will react. Because I believe now the public court is now in the seat of the driver's side, determine what the government will do as a result of open governance.
All right, all right. Let's hope it continues that way. All right, you can send in your reactions via text or WhatsApp 091 36556864. Let us know, share your thoughts on the president's speech, what he said he will do, and the expectations. What other thing do you think we need aside from the ones he has already mentioned? How do we ensure that Nigerians are in a better place? 09136556952. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Dr. Fish on Package.
All right, Dr. Zeal, good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you see, what the president said today, I think he's going to, fingers crossed, to see whether he's going to do all of that. But concerning the, they have assured us that the secret of the, which we all believe in, except for who are among the cabal that want to continue and be pushing on, then it is what will happen to push it, because he said he felt our faith. If truly he felt our faith, the cushioning of the effect of different subsidy now is what we want to see in action. Okay, where is not sufficient. We want to hear actions now that we cushion the effect of first. You want to also really do what he said that could be in terms of transportation, in terms of making the lives of Nigerians better. Because that was an issue. Statement like this comes from the president or the former president. You will read out statements like this, but what we follow after will be different. So we don't want that to happen.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dr. Zeal. You can send in your contributions via text or WhatsApp 091 36556864, and you can also drop comments on Facebook and YouTube. Diamond FM Ilori on YouTube, at Diamond 887 FM on Facebook as well. And then you can call the magic number 08000 887 887 08000 887 887. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and go straight to your contribution. While we receive more contributions, let's quickly talk about the second issue. Another very important conversation that we would like to have this morning is on the suspension and later arrest of the governor of the CBN, that is Godwin Emefiele. It came as a shock to many when the news came out on Friday. lots of reactions continue to surface in the last 48 hours, and we can still expect more to come in the new week. Now, allegations upon allegations here and there. This must be a tough time for Emefiele. What do you think? Okay, let's take this reaction first. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Adigun from Igiori.
All right, Adigun. Good to have you on the show. Go ahead, please.
So, what I just want to say is that our president, Tinubu, don't forget your promise, especially agriculture, economy, education, and security.
All right.
Very, very important. And the second point about suspending government feeling.
All right, we haven't even started discussions on that yet, but all right, let's quickly move on to that. Now, there's been allegations upon allegations. This is looking like a tough time for Emefiele. What do you think?
Actually, for his Nigeria CBN governor, we should know his role, that one of the role is to stabilize Nigeria economy, the country economy, let me put it that way. And as a banker to the government and other bank, you have to look at the relationship between the cash inflow within the country and external cash flow in order to balance your exchange rate. That is most of its primary function.
Okay.
And if you look at what happened, he has been, informed to step aside now, not dismissed, not removed from office. If it is in advanced country, in a situation like that where you have many allegations against you, you will resign for them to make their investigation. But Nigeria never like that, and that is so. But so people were saying it in a particular quarter that the president does not have the power to remove him. He did not remove him. He only told him to step aside tentatively the investigation. And if you look at the way a CBN governor will come on board, it will be through the president, nomination by the president, and subject to ratification of the National Assembly. And the same thing if he's going out, it is through the president as well, subject to the ratification of the National Assembly. So I don't think Mr. Tinubu has done something bad by telling him to step aside, especially when you have a situation where a kind of terrorism act, the way we heard of it the other time, is hanging against it. And that is why in a particular quarter, people stand to believe that the issue should not go through EFCC, not finance alone, but the issue of other things that are hanging, and it is the function of DSS to go about if truly that is what they want to do. But why Mr. Falana was saying that it is through the EFCC is because of what they brought out, that it is financial misconduct, and as a result of this, it is the case of EFCC. But Nigerian government, immediately they bring out everything they have, people may dissuade them by putting other interjection. I believe the DSS team know what they are doing, and the president is qualified to do what he did. But in another quarter, another theory came up. People, the general public now, from their own perception, because the public will not, well, if you say anybody perform a financial misconduct in Nigeria, people put little listening here to read simply because of what has been happening in the past. They will waste a lot of time, and at the end of the day, even in the last administration, the issue of plea bargain, come and drop whatever you have, we are not going to announce. And what do they use the money for? That is why the public will say less about a Emefiele financial misconduct. But what they are after is that what they passed through during the Naira crunch. At this period, a lot of workers, federal, state, local government, even private establishment, I don't know you of Diamond FM, have their money in the bank, they cannot access it. And you still have to go to your place of work. Where will you get the money? All right.
Now, still talking about this, the period of the Naira crunch, that was the period before this arrest. He came up with that policy, and a lot of people had issues with it. Public opinions were divided, and Nigerians were struggling at that point in time. It also had some people in the political class also had certain issues with it. We have seen the moment where this president was saying, Egbe Naira per month, that means you kept the Naira, whether you like it or not, we will vote and we will be elected. He said that in Yoruba. I had to translate for those who do not understand Yoruba. Now, it was apparent that there was a bottled feeling at that time. Now, there are speculations that this is one of the reasons why this is happening. Do you also share in the same opinion, or did you even see this coming? Did you expect this to happen? But we will talk about this when we come back from this short time. But we need to pay bills. But you can still join in the conversation. Send us your reactions via text or WhatsApp 09136556864, and then you can call us on 08000 We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Ara ríro kò sí mọ́ àwọn ká ti sá lọ àrùnmọ́lẹ́gùn ẹ̀yìn dídùn làkúrẹ́ ìgbé wọ́n ti lọ wá bí wọ́n sí kára o lè pé bàmù rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
kókó lára ọ̀tá le gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó dìde kára o lè pè ń bà àtòrà wọ̀ àtòrà pẹ̀sẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa kẹ́gun tó kẹ́gun náà kára o yá gágá ara ń ronú tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ronú mọ́ tẹ̀ bá ti fi kára o lè pè ń bà rà lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọnú igun tó sì ń ṣe àtúntò rẹ̀ òṣùbù yẹ̀kẹ́ fa párọ̀ tàbí fi ẹsẹ̀ dá fi kára o lè pè ń bà wọ̀ káì ara rẹ̀ ó lè padà yakinlala action ó jẹ́ àwọ̀ká àròmọ̀lẹ́gun làkúègbé ara ríro tàbí ẹ̀yìn dídùn kára o lè pè ń bà lọ́kọ̀ gbogbo wọn agbára pọ̀ kára o lè pè ń bà. Tuyi Pharmaceutical Industries Limited àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi ká po oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é kára o lè pè ń bà ẹ̀rọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pín ìrèpàtú òpèrè ta pàtà pọ́npọ́n kára o lè pè ń bà ó kì í síbẹ̀.
kára o lè pé bàmù rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is brought to you by the National Primary Health Development Agency in collaboration with the Nigeria Red Cross Society with support from the Africa CDC SLL program.
Colors, they add meaning to our lives. From birth and naming of a child.
May your life be rich and potent as the red palm oil. Amen.
Colors tell of the feelings in our hearts.
Aww.
Through rainbow-like roses or even bubbly emojis. Colors speak of our distinctive ancestry through the shade of our skin. Colors are in the bright garbs we wear to impress, or the deluxe coat we give our buildings.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
And with our proudly Nigerian deluxe paints now available in any color, express your world however you want it. Visit a Deluxe Color Center to get any color instantly.
Dulux, let's color.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still Democracy Day in Nigeria, and we're still on the Diamond Breakfast Show having interesting conversations about happenings across Nigeria. And before I went on the break, I asked my guest a very interesting questions about the speculations that has been going on about bottled feelings here and there. Is this, or did you expect this, or did you even envisage that something like this was going to happen to Emefiele, seeing what happened during the cash crunch and the fact that a lot of people believed it was directed at certain political classes?
Actually, what happened is an eyesore before everybody between a particular quarter of APC as a political party and himself. And even for the fact that he stood as a presidential candidate who never resigned, and a lot of things even hanging, which I will go to that, that necessitated his arrest at a particular quarter. But for what he has done, on the Naira crunch and the issue of fuel, I will not relate it to me. I would not like us to relate it to Mr. Tinubu during the campaign, because it is a personal issue between them, if at all it happens like that. But what banks on Nigeria, whatever policy that will affect the populace, is what we should mainly dwell on, because a lot of people died during this Naira crunch. We have a lot of people on operation who cannot access their money. We have some retirees who normally sustain on drug, and they cannot access their pension that comes in. A lot of people, you can see, some people are even not seeing it. A lot of small business scale owner that went off during that period. These are the things that concern properly. But that one you have said now also it took place, but that should be a personal business between them, because if Mr. Tinubu have not win the election, if it is another person, will have forget about that. But to him, I think he has overcome that. I don't think he should witch hunt him as a result of that personality.
Also, it's not a case of witch hunting.
Exactly. But what happened on the issue of Naira crunch and the fuel issue that is not accessible by Nigeria, then you see it's a double major, and it has never happened in the history of Nigeria, coupled with him as a CBN governor that have intention of going for the presidential race. You were not telling us that the 100 million form was a donation from your friends, and telling us that most of the vehicle that comes in was a donation, and you are still sitting as a CBN governor in the custody of the treasury of the federation. Nobody will believe that. And if that is part of what they did, coupled with some financial, people were saying that he has financed some people undergroundly in time of what do you call it, kidnapping and what have you. If that is the reason why he's being arrested, I think they should make a perfect investigation, but it should not be a personal thing that has done to Mr. President before coming up. But people were saying it at a particular quarter, like you have said. I heard of it, but for me, I didn't give much thought to it. I believe on personal, a national issue that is being taking place during that period, and the process that, because I will still say it, the issue of redesigning is a perfect policy. It is a global practice. Anybody that says it never goes with that is a useless policy. Does mean that the whole world doesn't know what they are saying. But the process at which it took the other that particular period, and the intention of the CBN governor not looking at the side of the populace, but telling us that some governors want to use the money for election. At the end of the day, the governors have their way. What now happened to the public as a result of that? If that is part of why he is being arrested now by the DSS, they should make an accurate investigation. And at the same time, one thing, in this country, we must have a president. Without having a president, you begin to do the same. You begin to make it is the EFCC, though the agency